So Sequoia around this time says, FTX is the high-quality global crypto exchange the world needs. Sam is the perfect founder to build his business. What do you think about that?
I mean, when you're at this point in time, right, where given all of the context that you guys have heard, all of the context that we've talked about, this person is printing money hand over fist in a crypto economy that isn't exactly figured out by everybody else. He went to MIT, his parents are from Stanford. Everything's pointing to him being the golden child for investors, for VCs, for these funds that are looking to take swings on people and make them into unicorns by getting that return. And so, if you have, Babe Ruth on your team, you're going to talk about him. Yeah. If you got LeBron on your team, Steph Curry, you're going to talk about him because that is the star player. And so I don't think it's
or he had all of the qualities of a superstar, and he had the major cosigns.
Well, this is the cosign.
Right.
To get him to cosign, I think, he hit all the check marks that said, let's cosign him. Let's start talking about him like the golden boy. All right, what is going on, y'all?
Yo, we're back.
Back at it again.
With another Founders Drive.
That's right.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome
to the Founders Drive.
Founders driving, talking about what drives founders.
Yes, what drives those founders. It's a very, very complicated, but very also straightforward triple entendre. So,
yes,
welcome along for the ride. All right, so let's go contents updates. That's kind of what we
like to start with.
And then we get into Sam Bankman-Fried. And to be clear, this is something that we're experimenting with, where we typically do founders that have achieved extreme levels of success.
Yes.
But in this one, we're gonna go and look at people that monetarily have achieved that extreme level of success, but it didn't quite end up in the picture perfect fantasy.
Exactly.
So,
but starting with constants first.
Yes, talk to me.
Yeah, man. So we had some really cool updates go live this week.
Man,
everybody on the website right now is going to get a weekly digest.
Yes.
Of all the cool activity that's happening, whether you have posts going out and that are bangers, whether you have people joining your community, and really just like the basics of what's happening on the platform, so you guys are informed each and every week of what's happening.
Yeah, and that includes activity on your page. It includes activity in your communities and other communities, and we sum that up, send it over to you, keep you in the loop, keep you updated, because I think that's extremely important for an entrepreneur. And that's alongside the core focus of the platform, which is the tools for entrepreneurs to get started in 2026.
Yes.
Cool. So check out the website, constants.com. That's CONSTANTS.com. So it's constant, plural. And
link in the description.
Of course, yeah. Link in the description. You can go directly to the website and you'll be able to find out everything that you need to over there. So why don't we get into it?
Let's get into it.
All right. So where do we want to start with Mr. Sam Bankman-Fried?
Let's start with a little bit of background, how the guy grew up, what his circumstances were when he started this journey, to really give a good context for what we're going to talk about.
Cool. So it's 1992, March 5th, 1992. He was born to his parents, Barbara Fried and Joseph Bankman, on the Stanford campus, and both were Stanford law professors.
Yes. And
both were very, very utilitarian. Now, utilitarian, for people that aren't really aware, are people that it's a philosophy that uplifts the whole over the individual. And there's other thoughts that go with that, particularly altruism for the masses, ends justify the means, are typically associated with being a utilitarian. But he was born to two utilitarian parents. He had a brother, Gabe, and his parents raised him as take no prisoner utilitarians.
Yes.
And that was a core to his identity early on and throughout his career. By age 12, he was already on these utilitarian message boards. We're about 5 days apart in terms of birth. March 5th, 1992. I was born February 29th, 1992. while he was on these message boards, I was in a completely different world.
Yeah, what were you doing?
I was on like the hip hop world. World Star, was that out at that time? Anyway, we don't have to get down too deep into that. But the main idea is that he was very active with this philosophy earlier. It was ingrained in him, and it became a core part of his identity. He was very gifted in mathematics. He attended the Canada-U.S. math camp for gifted high schoolers pretty early on. And he went to Crystal Springs Uplands High School. It was a private prep school. He went to MIT, which is nothing to scoff at, even for people that are pretty well off.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talent there, and he majored in physics and had a math minor,
Which, again, is really interesting because the MIT world, there's a lot of connections there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of network. And so we talk a lot about that on these Founders Drives, of the network that some people have when they start their business and when they're going through life. MIT is a great launch point for that.
Yeah.
You know, if you're starting a business or you're just like in your career, there's a lot of MIT alumni that you can connect with.
Yeah, that's a big thing with a lot of people that
Any
find
Ivy League,
success.
really.
Yeah, it's like a lot of it is the network, and I think we're seeing that more and more. You learn a lot of the same materials at different schools that aren't as aren't as well known.
Yeah.
But the network connection and finding the details and the things that you're learning come about at these Ivy League, these historic campuses, and it makes a difference in terms of life success. It plays a big role in life success, especially if you can learn how to leverage that network. But he went there. He was, and while he was there, he attended this talk by a philosopher named William McCaskill on effective altruism. And McCaskill gave this pitch about earning to give. He said that you could do more good by making money and then donating it as opposed to just working for a charity.
Right.
Which effective altruism has its own contention, because the idea is that by being objective about good causes and applying science and an iterative mindset around these causes, you could be very effective in your altruism. It's not just something that's for dreamers, but something that's for scientists.
Yeah.
And I think that attracted a lot of people like Sam Bankman-Fried, and it also shaped, again, I would say not shaped, it refined his philosophy and his foundation that his parents set early on.
I think it has similarities to the utilitarianism, but it does feel like a little bit of an upgrade. Where it's a little bit of like okay, we refined what my thinking was, we're going to go to, V2 of this, MVP. With effective altruism, what's really interesting to me is that, like, there's this concept of objective altruism, but everybody has a subjective experience. And so what I find that I want to, donate to my causes might not be what somebody else thinks that I should be donating to.
Yeah.
And so there's that contention there of, like, if I'm donating to only the causes that I think are right, am I really altruistic? It's very interesting in terms of how you would grade somebody who's an effective
And I think that's where the controversy
stems from.
Exactly. Is people look at it and they say the fundamentals, the pitch sounds good, but in practice, things can get squirrely because people are going to people. I mean, that's one saying that I find myself coming back to over and over again, is people are going to people, and you can't discount that aspect of anything really when you start bringing things into practice. Like in theory, we like to remove all of that and say objectively this is going to work, but that's the problem, is that objective analysis doesn't include the subjective things that come up.
Objectively, communism should work.
Objectively, when you put it into practice,
it never.
And some people might say the same thing about everything else, and so it's really, but that's a different discussion. I think coming right here and looking at this, effective altruism was a main pillar of Sam Bankman-Fried's philosophy.
And that's important because that shapes how he tends to run the company.
And who he recruits.
Yes,
because there's a lot of like-minded people that believed in that, and that gave him a lot of authority in terms of his making decisions and in moving forward.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So he graduated in 2014. Both of his parents were academics, of course, and they taught him largely that the ends justify the means, which is, I mean, it's pretty interesting. What's also interesting is that we talked last episode with Mark Zuckerberg about how he came from a pretty well-off background.
Much more well-off than I thought he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And then that set him up for this life where he ended up getting trained at an early age, moved in when it got into Harvard, and then things took off for him like a rocket ship. And his philosophy came first. And so it's interesting to see how even still, like, even if you do have a wealthy background, there's still different, you know, outcomes. There's a variability on like the outcomes that we can actually see.
Yeah.
So kind of moving along though, in 2014, from 2014 to 2017, after MIT, now he is in the working world, and he goes and works at Jane Street full time, which apparently is a very, very prestigious firm. They want the top of the top. They want people that have a huge appetite for risk and are willing to apply their mind to these problems for financial gain. He traded ETFs, and he donated 50% of his salary to animal welfare and effective altruism causes.
That is, I want to say that's wild, but like, that's just like you calling your shot and saying, I'm gonna hit this light. But that's just like, most people, I feel like in this scenario would say I'm an effective altruist, but then wouldn't commit 50% of their salary. And, you know, maybe you'd make the argument that, you know, maybe his parents were supporting him or something like that. But to be able to say, okay, I got paid and now I'm going to give away 50% of this, that's walking the like talk, you know, it's talking the talk and walking the walk, which is, I think gives him good points in terms of like, hey, you say you were going to do this, you're doing it. Yeah. Right? It lines up with the story. It makes me feel like, okay, you're authentic about what you're saying here.
There's a level of alignment, a level of congruence in his actions
and conviction,
in his beliefs, which I think leads to conviction,
or at least the portray of conviction.
Well, I think with me, when I think of beliefs and conviction, I look at beliefs as measured by your level of action, your level of commitment to what you're doing.
And that would be 100%.
Right? And so he's putting his money, he might not be right about everything, but he believes what he's saying.
Yes, exactly.
And I think that's something to point out is, I don't know if it was, well, you know.
And it's hard to argue that.
Yeah.
It's with that
when you put your money up.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what, do you think I'm not an effective altruist?
Yeah. He's like, so I care about this, and I believe in this philosophy enough to take 50% of my earnings and put it into these causes that I believe in.
That's a very, very strong data point.
Yeah. So he had a brief stint as the director of development at the Center of Effective Altruism in Berkeley too. At this point, he didn't really know much about crypto, but you can see that he's, you know, getting into the working world, working with exchange traded funds, trading them in a very good career path, and he's out there. He's in the streets. He's working. Here is a really important point though, because while he was here, he started to notice that there were massive arbitrage opportunities in crypto. So he didn't really know much about it previous, but he started to learn about it, and he started realizing, oh, it's trading much higher in Japan than it is in America. And so if I buy crypto in America at a discounted rate, I can go and sell it to Japan and a few other countries and make a huge profit. And so he exploited it. It wasn't easy, but he exploited that.
The infrastructure just wasn't fast enough for people to see this as a legitimate path forward. And so that was his, I guess, like genius moment of like, oh, if I just make the trades fast enough, I can get that 30% bump.
Yeah. And it's not like it was today. I mean, now we have the crypto arena.
Exactly. It's instantaneous.
And it was literally the crypto arena. Like the Staples Arena was renamed the crypto. Staples Center was renamed the crypto arena, and that's huge because I mean it's in front of us. We understand it. People are aware of it. There's systems and businesses that have been put in place, and people have their eye on it. But back then, that wasn't the case.
It reminds me of like the Rockefeller stuff, where he was like, yeah, everyone's got this old oil that nobody knows what to do with. You know, before the Henry Ford stuff, he was like, "Oh, I can refine this.
Yeah,
I can refine this and make it usable for people." And it was like a waste product before.
Yeah, he saw that opportunity.
Yes,
and then he took advantage of it. And
It was only there for a little bit.
Right.
As soon as the cars came out, everyone's like, "Oh, we all need oil."
Yeah, yeah.
And he was like, "I was a little early, but
yeah, and it pays to be early. You get
Yes.
to see opportunities that other people don't, and you get to take advantage of them in ways that other people just haven't been able to do that. So,
Yep.
So what he did though around 2017 is he started Alameda Research. He co-founded it with Tara McAlay and Gary Wang.
Yep.
And he met Tara at the Center of Effective Altruism. Gary was a talented Google engineer, and they named Alameda Research after Alameda County, where Berkeley was.
Mm-hmm.
This is explicitly an EA project, so an effective altruism project from day one.
Yep.
And it originally required employees to donate 50% of their salary to charity. It was later revised, but it was one of those things where
That's the standard.
It was an effective altruism company. Like, that was the mindset, and
Yeah.
he wasn't shy about it.
Do you think you would join that
No.
kind of company?
No.
Why not? Because you're not effective altruist.
Yeah, I'm not there completely.
Okay.
Not in the practical sense. I'm not an effective altruist, but in terms by like the way that this is set
of course,
up, right? Like, I wouldn't join this one, but I do believe in giving back, and I do believe in altruism, right?
Yeah.
And I do believe in being diligent about that. But I think the thing that I don't believe in people being able to come up with an absolutely objective viewpoint on what we should be doing. And so I think when we start doing, I don't know, I think like it's really easy to rationalize
your causes.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I think for me, it's very interesting. I think having a clause like that for your employees definitely makes sure that you're only recruiting the right people.
It's a good filtering.
It's a great filter.
Yeah.
If your mission is, hey, are you aligned in our mission? It's a very easy way to be like, yeah, you're either aligned or not, because it's hard to give up 50% of your income.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are, how much money you make. If you were asked to give up 50% of your paycheck, that's tough.
Yeah. Which, I mean, even them, they also revised it, and
Sure.
that I guess goes to show how much of a commitment it is. But kind of skipping ahead a little bit here.
Yep.
While they're at Alameda Research, they organized arbitrage trades moving up to $25 million per day, and this is in January 2018. And this is the Japanese Bitcoin arbitrage. So
Yes.
they basically formed a company around this and said, "Hey, I have this opportunity. We're gonna go in here and we're gonna go and make a ton of cash."
And he did.
Yeah.
They were printing money.
Right. And so he bought Bitcoin cheap in the U.S., sold it in Japan. He made about $20 million here in the early months. In late 2018, after attending a crypto conference in Macau, he moved to Hong Kong.
Yeah.
In 2021, SBF owned 90% of Alameda Research. And there were some early warning signs here.
Right.
Multiple early employees raised concerns. The warnings were apparently dismissed, and the effective altruistic organizations, but the EA organizations continued to take money.
Yeah.
So what was happening in 2018, EA leaders were repeatedly warned that SBF was unethical, duplicitous, and negligent. Everybody was ignoring these signs, but they continued to move forward, continued to accept the money, and they continued to let him loose. And it's hard to ignore, it's hard to pay attention to signs when the money's flowing in.
That's the key right there, is that when things are good, people tend to not go through the same level of detail or pay attention to the same level of detail that they would when the money's not flowing.
Yeah, it's very easy to overlook things.
Yes, and I think this is also the spot in the narrative where we start building this idea of Sam being a crypto genius, of being oh wow, crypto's out here, it's not big. I mean, it's definitely big in 2018, 2019 where we're at, but who's making money on it, right? And Sam he's making money, tons of money every quarter. And so I think this is where we start to see the narrative of, hey, I can do this in the markets today, and you can't do this in the markets today.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you want some tips and tricks, like maybe we can meet up in Hong Kong, or, you can have me on a podcast or something. But right now in this storyline, it's you get a big winner, and he's kind of, I guess, going to continue winning so far.
Yeah. I think, well, one thing that you said that really stuck out to me was they started to paint him as this genius that
Crypto genius.
was just ahead of everybody.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting to me because oftentimes what looks like genius is better training, better development, and better understanding of where you need to be. And the results of that end up being speed, insight, and results.
Mm-hmm.
There are geniuses out there.
Yeah.
Don't get that twisted, right? There are some people that are very, very, very skilled mentally. But I think there are a lot of people who have the right training and upbringing early on,
Mm-hmm.
and we then
Prescribe it to them.
and then we also say, okay, well, this person's just different. They're one of one. They're better than everybody else. And that's, again, a space, especially when there's so much money on the line, can get really interesting, to say the least, right?
Well, I think it's something that we like to talk about on this podcast, which is basically like your personal brand.
Mm-hmm.
This is your personal brand. This is how people use their personal brand. If you can get other people saying that you're a genius, you don't have to convince other people you're a genius.
Right. Yeah.
And that opens up opportunities for you. And I'm not saying that like that's what everyone should do. Go, make other people think you're a genius, but
Develop your personal brand.
develop your personal brand in a way that other people talk about you in the way that you want them to.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that you have warm introductions everywhere because everyone's heard about you.
Yeah. Yeah. People speak on your behalf and they
Yes.
convince themselves. That is something that we see a lot of, from Newman to Zuckerberg to especially like the people that have made their break post 2000.
Right.
We see a lot of
They're very
their
public.
reputation preceding them.
Yeah, they're very public, it feels like. And I don't know if that's just me with the social media, but like it feels like not just accessible, but they're just more public and there's more eyes on them.
Mm. So we are skating down here a little bit. We have 2019, they basically start building the machine. They start building FTX.
Futures exchange.
Futures Exchange. It was co-founded with Gary Wang.
Mm-hmm.
And the goal was to build a professional grade crypto derivatives exchange. SBF saw the gaps in existing exchanges, bad infrastructure, poor risk management, no customer protections. The irony.
Yeah, that's a tough one to say that like, yeah, but anyway, keep going.
And he positioned FTX as the adult in the room.
Yes.
But again, positioning.
It's positioning,
right?
yeah, it's
Where we
framing.
put it, where we talk about it, how we talk about it makes a big difference.
Yeah, because you're going against people like Binance who
Yeah.
have regulations where they have legitimate books, where they have teams of people that are highly skilled and they are paying them top dollar. It's not like you're going against a bunch of startups who, just came out of college.
Yeah.
These are established companies, and yet he's still like, no, I'm going to be the adult in the room.
I'm the adult.
It's a very, very strong
I'm the
framing.
youngest adult in the room. But I mean, he stood on his business, and that carries a lot of weight.
The results, yes, exactly.
Yeah. Not to mention, they also made a ton of money in crypto, arbitraging
The other
markets.
coins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a level of track record.
He's a professional trader.
Yeah. In the crypto space, and
Right.
he's made millions of dollars doing that before he turned 25.
Yeah.
So that's a big stamp of approval, and you can kind of come in here like I'm the boy genius that went to MIT, got into crypto, did this, and this.
Yeah.
And so when they did this, Binance's CEO,
Mm-hmm.
as you were mentioning,
CZ.
bought a 20% stake for $100 million in FTX, and then FTX acquired Blockfolio for $150 million in August of 2020.
Yep.
And then they had their big raise in 2021 where they fundraised $900 million for their Series B at an $18 billion valuation. That included over 60 investors: Sequoia, SoftBank, Paradigm, Thoma Bravo, Third Point, Lightspeed, Coinbase Ventures, and the list goes on.
Some of the biggest names in the valley.
Right. And yeah, in
In
worldwide
investment.
too, right? I
Yeah.
mean, SoftBank, this is the people that
Yeah, it's true.
gave that big check to
WeWork.
exactly before and said, "Hey man, go be aggressive, be more
Be
aggressive,
bigger. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, go for it." SBF bought out CZ's stake later for $2 billion. And so imagine you invest $100 million, 2 years later, you get $20 billion or $2 billion. That's 20x returns. That's like putting in $1, getting $20 back, putting in 100, getting 2,000 back.
That's
2,000 getting or 1,000 getting 20,000 back. Like it's a big.
yes. And so now we've got
return.
the foundation of, okay, boy genius went to MIT making millions of dollars every year, hundreds of millions probably. And then you have, okay, now he's returning 20x investments to people.
Yeah.
Okay, how can I get my money in there?
Yeah.
How, like, this is a boy genius who went to MIT who's printing money in crypto.
Yeah.
He just returned 20x to one of the top crypto, Binance, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the top crypto trading platforms in the world at the time.
Yeah. And when you make money for other people, people like to talk. Well, most people like to talk.
It speaks
about
for itself, honestly.
Right? Because then they're, hey man, he put money in my pocket. I don't know about everybody else, but he put money in my pocket. So that ends up being a wild time for them. I mean, they're growing like crazy. Their revenue grew 10x in 2021, up 75x since the Series A. FTX had 1 million plus users.
Yeah.
$10 billion in daily trading volume. So things look like they're clicking on all cylinders at this point. Things are trending in the right direction. Everything is great. In 2021, he moved the headquarters and the entire senior staff from the Hong Kong to the Bahamas.
Yes.
And they did another raise of $420 million at a $24.5 billion valuation.
Which I think makes sense, right? You're just you're growing the company, you're kind of going through these stages. Mm-hmm. This is what you would see in a really fast scaling startup.
Yeah.
Is these kinds of rounds being raised. And there's not really anything weird about that.
Right. So Sequoia around this time says, FTX is the high quality global crypto exchange the world needs. Sam is the perfect founder to build his business. What do you think about that?
I mean, when you're at this point in time, right, where given all of the context that you guys have heard, all of the context that we've talked about, this person is printing money hand over fist in a crypto economy that isn't exactly figured out by everybody else. He went to MIT, his parents are from Stanford. Everything's pointing to him being the golden child for investors, for VCs, for these funds that are looking to take swings on people and make them into unicorns by getting that return. And so, if you have, Babe Ruth on your team, you're going to talk about him. Yeah. If you got LeBron on your team, Steph Curry, you're going to talk about him because that is the star player. And so I don't think it's
or he had all of the qualities of a superstar and he had the major cosigns.
Well, this is the cosign.
Right.
To get him to cosign, I think, he hit all the check marks that said, let's cosign him. Let's start talking about him like the golden boy.
Every cosign feeds off of each other too.
Yes. And kind of like investment.
Yeah. And he really understood the value of having a great network and the great endorsements from people that were recognizable. Yeah. Like he understood the value of celebrity endorsements, which I think we're going to get into.
Which is right, right when he starts having all this money, it's now, who can I do this with? It's not Sequoia, but not everybody knows. Yeah, and this is the celebrity machine that we start getting into. Exactly. Where he first put the FTX brand in as many places as possible. He spent $135 million to rename the Miami Heat Arena. Yeah. That's right. He got the naming rights for 19 years. There's no longer named this anymore, but he got the naming rights to call it the FTX Arena. When your company goes bankrupt, maybe the contract is null and void. Right. He put $17.5 million to the UC Berkeley football stadium, calling it FTX Field. Yeah. $210 million to TSM Esports team rebrand to call them TSM FTX. MLB deal, he got the FTX logo on multiple umpire uniforms. Yeah, which has never been done before. Ever. I mean, that's insane. And a Mercedes F1 team sponsorship. Yep. And a Golden State Warriors sponsorship. And that was separate from all the individual celebrities that he ended up paying to do ads for FTX. And I know people saw these ads. Oh, yeah. It was worldwide. that he was running these.
Yeah, well, one of the funniest ads was the Larry David ad, which again, the irony around some of this whole story is, it's palpable.
Yes.
The Larry David ad, for those who are unaware, was Larry David saying that he wasn't interested in FTX.
Throughout all the eras of history, too.
Yeah, so every time there's a great invention, going back to the wheel, to electricity,
Fire,
to fire, to democracy, he was like, I'm good with the old. And then it ends on somebody showing him FTX, and he goes, and they say, don't be like Larry, right?
Yeah,
because the idea is that he's missing out on all of these great opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And then you fast forward 5-6 years, and
Larry's right.
But yeah, they gave him $10 million to do that.
That's
to
wild.
Do that spot. They gave Steph Curry a $35 million deal. Gisele Bündchen an advisory role and an equity stake. Tom Brady $55 million in an equity stake. Shaquille O'Neal, Naomi Osaka, Shohei Ohtani, Trevor Lawrence, Kevin O'Leary, the Shark. Another one.
That's something we'll talk about on Super Secret.
Ooh.
Because Kevin had a very interesting comment recently about whether he would invest in Sam Bankman-Fried after he gets out of jail.
Ooh.
We'll talk about that Super Secret.
Yeah, let's get into it, baby. All right. And then he had some major political donations.
Yes.
$5.2 million to the Biden campaign, second largest individual donor behind Bloomberg. In the 2022 cycle, second largest individual donor to Democratic campaigns. Also donated to Republicans, Collins, Romney, Murkowski, and then $100+ million in total political contributions.
Mm-hmm. Which is wild. There's a strategy there. He's not just doing it altruistically.
Yeah, I mean, he said, right? Well, he said that this was, where it goes, total political contributions. He said that this was a lot easier to pull off than you might expect. Like, he spent less money than you would expect him to basically influence these different
Get the results he wanted.
It's
yeah,
insane.
It is a problem that needs fixing.
Yeah,
for sure.
No kidding. FTX raised about $400 million at a Series C at a $32 billion valuation in 2022, and announced a $2 billion FTX Ventures fund where they would invest in other companies.
And this is where I think his net worth peaked, right around $25 billion, I believe.
Yeah.
And that was the highest he got to, which if you're, and this is for, a lot of billionaires have this, but when you start getting more billions than your age, it's very interesting.
Oh, yeah. He, SBF testified before Congress in 2021. Mm-hmm. He positioned himself as the responsible voice in the industry.
Yeah.
Always positioning. No, we're the responsible ones, and you guys aren't.
And it's complicated, so trust us.
Mm-hmm. What's also funny is his image throughout this whole thing was somebody who just didn't care about this money, and to a degree I believe this. I mean, even all of these actions that we're seeing here fit within this framework of the ends justifying the means.
Right.
He's making these decisions because he's trying to be an effective altruist. He drove a Toyota Corolla, slept on a beanbag, lived with 10 roommates in a penthouse, but still lives with 10 roommates, wore shorts and an old FTX t-shirt to everything.
Yep.
He would say, I don't want a yacht. He signed the Giving Pledge. You remember that?
There's a couple people that signed it, I know.
Yeah, promised to give away a majority of his wealth. Yeah. And he made the infamous Forbes 30 under 30. His peak net worth, $26 billion.
$26 billion, yeah. It's really interesting. I think we'll get more into it here, but it's all about that framing and that positioning. Mm-hmm. That to me is the loudest part of this whole.
I want to talk about framing and positioning in the Super Secret episode.
For sure, yeah.
The Super Secret episode, we have to talk about framing and positioning.
Yeah.
And more in the particulars of how to identify it and
how to do it.
Yeah. So this is when the cracks started to appear. FTX's inception in 2019. From FTX's inception in 2019, customer funds flowed directly to Alameda-controlled bank accounts.
So, yeah, we went through that kind of quick. Explain that. Explain what the architecture was, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
and why that's a problem.
Well, we'll unravel this a little bit, right? Because the setup was very. I mean, it was like a pyramid scheme. It was in the lane of Bernie Madoff, who might be another one of these special episodes that we go down. But Gary Wing testified that he coded a special allow negative flag for Alameda, giving them unlimited ability to borrow from customer funds. And so basically, FTX is this futures exchange that they have, right?
Yep.
People go in there, they purchase futures, and in doing so, they put their money into the platform, and then they can track all of their money, their spending, their trades through the platform.
Yep, just like maybe Robinhood or some other accounts you might have.
Fidelity,
right?
Any of these trading platforms. So then this cash, where does it go? Well, you would expect that it goes to an FTX bank account or series of bank accounts.
Right.
But what we uncover is that it's actually going to Alameda controlled bank accounts. And that's not the same company. They're actually two different companies.
Right. Commingling of funds is a sin.
So the bigger thing is that he allowed them to take not only from the account, but to do it to the point where they could have a negative balance on their account. They allowed for to carry a large negative balance, and that was the only account that could do that. An account that is co-owned by Sam Bankman-Fried, or owned by Sam Bankman-Fried.
Yeah, and there's two levels of trouble there. One where you're commingling funds, and the other one where it's allowed to be negative. It's like you might be okay with one because let's say Alameda, and I'm not saying it's okay to do it, but it could have worked out for them if maybe Alameda hits a huge streak and then they're able to pay back all the customers. I mean, it's still a harm and foul, but they might claim no harm, no foul because everyone got paid back. It was solvent. However, that's only the first sin. The next sin is, okay, let them continue running up the tab in what, perpetuity? They didn't have a limit for how negative the Alameda could go. And so, like, that's to me the second deadly sin here of like, oh yeah, they're going to win eventually. And just trusting that instead of actually putting guardrails in place where it's like, hey, like, they can't dig themselves out of this pit.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what happened. But.
Giving them, so this basically, this was testified to. They had a special allow negative flag for Alameda, giving them unlimited ability to borrow from customer funds.
Yes.
No other FTX customer had this privilege. Alameda had a secret exemption from FTX's auto liquidation protocol. By 2022, FTX had lent $10 billion of customer assets to Alameda.
Yes, and so we're going to start getting into another deadly sin that was committed here, which was the overinflation of those assets. But and this is what's interesting is, do you see any parallels here, just like as a side note, between these kinds of happenings and Elon's couple of companies that are now under his control?
Not directly. They did have an interaction, by the way, when he asked them to invest. But do I? No, I don't see I look at it more as a parallel to the Bernie Madoff and Ponzi schemes.
Gotcha.
And pyramid schemes in that way, where you basically fundraise a whole bunch of money and then you draw on those accounts to your specific account. So you're basically stealing.
Yep.
And then you at a rate where you're unable to pay back the people that gave your funds. And so when there's a run on a bank, which is what this is, then you're just unable to pay it, and then there's a collapse there because people are left out of money. I mean, we know people that were affected by this. So what's your angle on there? What do you see as the
to me, I think Elon is much smarter in terms of the regulation that he has in his companies, and so he's smart enough to know how far he can bend the rules. I would say that Elon, while I don't think he's doing anything criminal with the aggregation of his companies, I do believe that there is some bending of the rules in terms of the asset valuations. He now owns those things privately, and so he can play with those evaluations to then say, oh, this is what the numbers are.
Yeah, but you still have to have like a third party.
Of course.
Yeah.
And then that's why I know like there's ranges, right? Talking specifically about the SBF stuff, when he's talking about his assets on paper, wildly different than what they actually are.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to say that Elon does the exact same thing, but I think there's always that bending of the rule to his benefit, where, hey, I own all three of these privately owned companies. I can say, you know, now that this is,
Well, there's also
you know,
a huge benefit that you get just from the perception of having three wildly successful companies.
100%.
When people look at that, people start assuming, oh well, he owns that. He can take engineers from here and put them there.
Yes.
He can take information that he's learning over here and take it over there.
Apply it, yep.
But one things that he's not doing is like taking funds and then paying himself out and doing it in a place where there's literally no cap on that. And he's not doing that with customer funds directly.
100%. So that's where I feel like completely fine, but the asset valuation is very interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting. In 2022, summer 2022, the crypto winter hits.
Yes.
Terra Luna collapses in May. 3 Arrows Capital, Voyager, Celsius all go bankrupt. SBF positioned as the savior offered loans in rescue acquisitions. BlockFi rescue $400 million credit line, option to buy for $240 million. So many things are happening right here. Again, he's positioning himself as the adult in the room.
Right.
And coming in here and trying to save the day. In November 2022, this is a short window, 10 days. All of these things are happening really, really quick.
Yep.
November 2nd, CoinDesk publishes leaked Alameda balance sheet, reveals Alameda holds $5.8 billion of FTT, which is FTX's own token, as assets. The two companies are dangerously intertwined.
Yes.
CZ, Binance, tweets that Binance will liquidate all FTT holdings, which is approximately $580 million, and this triggers a panic. Carolyn Ellison, Alameda's CEO, SBF's ex-girlfriend, publicly offers to buy CZ's FTT, the FTX token, at $22. And then on November 6th through the 8th, there's a bank run.
Yeah,
where
everybody's trying to get their money
$6 billion
out.
in withdrawals in 72 hours, and this is where the pyramid collapses.
Yeah, I also, essentially, where they don't have enough money to cover this stuff, so they actually started stopping people from withdrawing their money. Something that I heard recently is the Vlad, Robinhood CEO, said that they are still dealing with that impact that they had to do when they had their bank run on GameStop. They halted trading for a half day.
Yeah,
they're still dealing with that impact. He was like,
what way?
well, just like the perception of people that are like, oh, so when things go bad, you just turn off my trades. You know, it's like.
But it happened. I mean,
and exactly. And he was on a podcast recently saying like he's still dealing with that negative blowback. And so with FTX, so they're like, yeah, we need to just like stop withdrawals, and it's your money in the bank. I would be livid. I'd be so upset.
Yeah, no kidding, right? And so November 9, Binance walks away after corporate due diligence says it found mishandled customer funds in alleged U.S. agency investigations. November 10, SBF tweets, "I fucked up."
That's a little understatement, but yeah, he did do that.
November 11th, FTX, Alameda, and 130 plus affiliates filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
Yep.
SBF resigns as CEO. John J. Ray III, the guy who handled Enron's bankruptcy, takes over. And then approximately
he was like, this is bad.
Yeah, right. Then approximately $473 million in funds stolen from FTX in unauthorized transaction, later revealed to be a $400 million SIM swap hack.
Yeah, do you believe that? I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I was looking at that. I did some research. I was like, I am very confident that SBF knows who took the money and is holding almost $500 million somewhere somehow.
I mean, that for him, that's best case scenario.
Right.
It's like, or it's just blown.
Something happened to that money.
You know?
something happened to that money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah, that's a nice little chunk of change.
Yeah.
I mean, how old was he when he got locked up?
Ooh, I don't know when he got locked up. I don't know when the court case came through, the judgment came through. But I think he got a lot of years. But this is essentially, yeah, he got taken to court because they were found to be commingling funds and just terrible bookkeeping.
Yeah.
Absolute terrible bookkeeping.
So at this point, he kind of goes on his run here. Wait, hold up.
This is the apology tour.
Ray's assessment. Never in my career have I seen such a complete failure of corporate controls and such a complete absence of trustworthy financial information. So that's the John J. Ray's.
He was the guy that was brought in to fix it. He was like, this is
the
terrible.
guy that did Enron.
Yeah.
Enron. If you're not familiar, I mean, that's a whole case in and of itself. But the numbers, $9 billion in liabilities, $900 million in liquid assets, $8 billion hole in customer accounts.
It's wild.
$8 billion hole in customer accounts.
Jesus.
Okay, so the Vox interview, this is him doing damage control. So even
the rest
if
of
you
it's
mess up,
damage control.
he says I fucked up, which was not the thing to tweet. And then he goes on, has an interview with the Vox reporter, and he says, fuck regulators, they make everything worse, they don't protect customers at all. Then they said on his ethics being mostly a front, he said yeah, and what he regrets, chapter 11 bankruptcy, everything would be 70% fixed right now if I hadn't. And then on his fall, a month ago I was one of the world's greatest fundraisers, now I'm the fallen wreckage of one.
Yeah, that's what happens when you make bad decisions
He said
in your company.
He said he would later realize that didn't realize that what he was saying was on the record.
Oh my god!
As if it makes a difference.
Yeah,
at this
right.
Point, right.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's it. But then you go back to the whole ends justify means, the philosophy, the thoughts, and it's a lot of yapping.
Yeah, it's a lot of talking without a lot of action.
Yeah. And so eventually, I mean, we don't have to linger too long on the way the cards are falling, but he eventually just kind of he was arrested in the Bahamas by the Royal Bahamas Police, and then this was the night before he was scheduled to testify. He didn't think he was going to be arrested, but he did. He agrees to the extradition. He's flown to the U.S., released on a $250 million bail into parents' custody.
Yeah.
And then
which they somehow had the money to pay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He also wired his parents some money too throughout this whole thing. They were helping.
$10 billion, I believe.
$10 billion?
I thought it was.
Oh,
it was because I think he bought him a house in the Bahamas.
Uh-huh.
They had lavish vacations.
Yeah.
And so it's very interesting in terms of the utilitarianism concepts to be living such a lavish lifestyle.
Yeah, I think that's another reason why people get suspicious of these very altruistic causes, is because there's so many people in there that take advantage of the belief in this altruistic system that usually leads to more corruption.
Right.
So it gets squirrely, and there's just a track record of people messing it up for the whole, because essentially what we're doing when we do things like this, communism and effective altruism aren't the same thing.
Right.
But when you do this is a personal belief of mine.
Sure.
I'm a capitalist because I believe that communism believes in sharing everything, and you have to put a few people in place to basically govern,
divvy it up,
all of make sure that people are staying, abiding by the rules. And so if you get one person or a small collective of people that take advantage of their power and their responsibility to make sure that everybody gets their fair share in this shared commune, then that just allows for massive corruption. And we've just centralized power in a way that leads to, the track record of history. And so it's not like the ideal and the mission isn't good. Of course, everybody wants that.
Yeah, exactly.
But in practice, it's concentrating power. You know what we say about power.
Yes.
And so capitalism just seems to be one of the most practical solutions.
So far.
There might be something better.
Right.
And people have started taking, steps towards that. But yeah. But anyways, he's right now serving out a 25-year bid. And he's serving it out with Diddy, of all people.
Which, yeah, this is another thing that really irks me, right? Is that it's very obvious that people with money, even in the punishment, even when they're held accountable, it's a very different world. It's a very different set of circumstances. He's a very cush condo-like jail.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's getting a lot of amenities that some people on the streets don't even get.
Right.
And after screwing over people out of $8 billion and probably more. You don't deserve any of that.
This is it's one of the biggest financial crimes, the white collar crimes in history.
Yes.
And it's on par with Bernie Madoff.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So it's incredible how it unraveled, how it played up, and it's a mix of ignorance, negligence, just straight up,
it's some
ego.
FOMO too. It's some FOMO.
A lot of that too, and the way that this whole thing spiraled. What's wild though is like he did it at such a young age.
Yeah.
That he's gonna be out when he's a grown man, 50 in his early 50s.
Yeah.
And he's gonna be able to live another life, especially if we continue to develop, our technology the way we are, that we are. He'll be able to come back and have another go at things, which again is strange because you realize the impact. I mean, the impact is a lot of people were out of money, and
it could happen again. It literally could happen again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really excited because in the super secret, I'm going to dive into some of the ways that we feel like you can use some of these lessons in your business and how to frame yourself and your personal brand for your benefit and not shoot yourself in the foot by doing that.
Framing, positioning, leverage, and Kevin O'Leary. Those are the 4 things.
That's right. So check us out in that super secret. Links in the description below. And we'll see you next week. Peace.